everybody, welcome back. My name's Meg.
And I'm Mari.
And this is Spine and Ink.
Today we are going to be discussing our book club book of the month, Bunny, by Mona Awad. I think is how you pronounce it. I hope so. We'll do our first segment with just some thoughts, feelings, our review, and that'll all be spoiler free. And then we will go into a deeper analysis and review of the book, and that will include spoilers. We'll make sure to let you know when that's coming, though. That way you know when to leave if you haven't read it. We hope you have. That way you can stay for the whole episode. But if not, go read it and come on back.
Perfect. Yeah. So I guess I'll start.
Perfect.
I rated this 4 stars. I was expecting this to be more of a thriller, and I've heard it described as very Heather's adjacent, very Heather's-like.
Mm-hmm.
But I was not expecting, it's surreal horror.
Yeah, I was not expecting that.
It's definitely a lot more gory, a lot more scary, and unsettling.
Mm-hmm.
I think the whole thing is just very unsettling. But I really, really enjoyed it. I liked the setting a lot. I liked the writing style a lot. I thought that her descriptions of things were really interesting, and it was very surreal, but I felt like she did a really good job of that. And yeah, I really enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to. I read it in 2 days, so it was very easy to get through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was super easy to read so fast. I could not put it down. I also rated it 4 stars. I think that this was my first horror that I've read. So I think that was helpful too, where I was just really into it just because it was that genre. But I really, really liked the writing style. I liked how it changed as things changed in the book. I thought that was really cool. I also really, really liked the characters. I feel like I could really picture all of them. I feel like they were really well written. So I really liked it. I was not ready for it to be horror, though. I also thought the same thing. I was like, okay, this is thriller. I don't know why I thought this. I thought it was supposed to be funnier.
No,
I thought it was just a funny thriller, Heather's situation, which it was, but I just didn't realize there was so much gory horror in it. But I loved it. So that caught me off guard at first. And then I was like, oh, okay, well, I didn't expect that, but I'm in it. Cool. So once I kind of knew what the setting was and then got into the genre, I was really into it.
Yeah.
I felt like the only reason it honestly wasn't higher for me was there was just some places that I felt it dragged a little bit, where I just had a harder time getting through them. But even then, I was still really invested in the story, so it didn't even matter. So yeah, I really liked it.
I think I really can't talk more about it without discussing the innards of it. So bye if you haven't read it.
If you haven't read it, go read the Goodreads description, because I don't even know how to describe it. Now that we've read it, I'm going to let something slip. So go read the Goodreads description and go read it.
Yeah. And we'll catch you back later.
Perfect.
Now that everyone's gone. Yes. What are your initial thoughts at the very end of the book?
I was so, I had to sit on it for a while. I was really confused for a minute. And that's because I was just well, what about this? Then how did this happen? Then how did this happen? I had to really sit on it for a minute and process. And I was like, okay, girl, you're thinking too logically and literally here. Let's digest. So once I sat on it a little bit, I love it. I think that the twists and turns were perfect, things that I did not see coming at all. I think I also, the book is split into 3 parts. If you're here, you read it, so you know. I think the first part, even into the second part a little bit, I was like, oh, okay, I think I can see where this is going. I think I understand. When they started talking about how they let them go and then the violence kept being mentioned, I was like, oh, okay, so we're going to find out that all their hybrids are committing all these crimes and stuff like that.
Oh, interesting.
And that's where I thought it was going. And so then it was going to be this huge thing where they have to find all the hybrids and fix it.
Interesting.
But the girls keep making them. And so I thought Samantha was going to have to go find all of them.
That is not what I thought at all.
Which I don't know why I thought that, but I was just well, there's going to be a solution. I don't know. I think that's just like the way that my mainly romance reading brain goes, is like there
Yeah.
has to be everything tied up. So I was like, okay, at this point in time, this is where I could see it going. Clearly, it did not go that way at all. So clearly I was wrong. But I'm really glad I was, because I really liked it.
Yeah. I I really enjoyed the end of it as well. I think it's a little, I've read a lot more. Oh, I just touched my mic. Sorry. I've
Real.
read a lot more like thrillers, and I've
Yeah.
read some more surrealism stuff. And I think that there's a lot of like the way that she writes kind of feels similar in some ways to like Sally Rooney, just in that it's
Interesting.
very meandering
Mm-hmm.
writing
Mm-hmm.
sometimes. So I don't know, like it took me a little less time to adjust,
Yeah.
I'm sure, but yeah, I thought that, I don't know, I thought that the girls were gonna die at the end. I like
That
really
too.
thought that they were all gonna die, and that
Yeah.
like I didn't know if, I thought that maybe like Samantha was gonna kill them, or that she was gonna have to enlist the help of people,
Mm-hmm.
or like, you know, what was, I don't know. There was just something in there that I really thought that they were gonna die,
Yeah.
and that like the cult was gonna, like there was gonna, I don't know. I was thinking more like demonic, getting rid of the demon type of thing, but
Yeah.
that really didn't happen. I mean, you find out that it's really been all in her head,
Yeah.
which is
Which
crazy.
I don't know how I feel about that kind of ending in a book where it's like, actually none of this happened, or like
Well,
actually
I
this was
don't
all in their
know.
head.
I don't know if
Like
none of it
not none
happened.
of it happened, but like a lot of it was in their head. I don't know if I like that or I don't. Cuz like I just want an explanation. So I'm like, no. I want more of an explanation than that, and I want to like think that all that happened, you know? So that's a little bit like harder for me, but I don't think I think her writing is incredible. Please don't take this the wrong way. Sometimes that'll feel
No
like a bit
one's
of like
taking it
a
the wrong. You're
writing.
allowed to have your opinion, girl.
Okay, yeah. Sometimes it feels like a cop out, like writing wise,
Mm-hmm.
when they get towards the end of the book and they're like, well, shoot, you know, there hasn't been what we talked about when I was like, I want like an explanation of some kind, or like, here's how this happened. It doesn't have to be like scientifically accurate, but in everything, like Jurassic Park, there's still like an explanation, even though that's not possible. There's still like a process. I wish we had more of that rather than just like, well, a lot of it was in her head. You know, it just kind of feels like a cop out sometimes.
I don't
Or like it
necess-
feels like unsettled, or like that's just more unsatisfying to me, I
Yeah.
think, in the end, than it would be if like all of this had happened and here's more of like an explanation. But I think that's just my preference.
I think the whole thing is just it's a metaphor about writing.
Yeah,
Like
that's true. That is true.
that the bunnies the whole time were trying so desperately to like create art, basically, create the body or whatever they were feeling, and they could never get it right. And she always got it right, and she just didn't even know.
That's
Like
true.
Ava was a perfectly real, perfectly functioning human being. Obviously, Ava probably didn't actually have a job or actually do,
Right.
you know, anything when she wasn't with Samantha, but like she had hands and stuff.
That's true.
She wasn't deformed.
That is true. I just like look at it too logically, and so I'm like, ugh, I'm like really
Yeah.
unsatisfied with that. But again, I haven't read that much horror. I haven't read that much thriller. Like I haven't
I
read
mean,
a lot
that's
of surreal
okay.
stuff
You're
like
also
that
like
too. So
allowed
it's
to
kind
have
of
your
like,
opinion.
yeah, but maybe that's just a convention of the genre, and I just like
Yeah.
don't know it yet, and I'm not like that familiar with it. So I was just like waiting for something different.
Yeah, no. I could tell kind of halfway through that I was like, I just don't think it's gonna be in a pretty bow.
Yeah.
But do you think that the bunny world was real, like their world that she was living in the middle? Do you think that that was real?
I don't even know. She was on so many drugs. She was on so many drugs that I'm like, it's really hard to tell what is and isn't. Like, I don't. What do you think?
I think that part might be real. I
Mhm.
think that they're like that they definitely were trying to create these, hybrids. I don't
Yeah.
know if everything was 100% accurate.
Right.
I think that
Right.
maybe less time was passing than she was thinking. I think maybe they
Yeah.
created less boys than she thought.
Yeah, like she exaggerated it.
Yeah, and I think that
I could see that.
there was like moments where she said that they drove them out into a field and just like left them and stuff. I don't know if that really happened. I think that
Yeah.
might have been her imagining.
That's what, okay, so that, sorry, tangent. Now that you say that, like when she was at that holiday
Yeah,
party and all that,
I don't
I
think
don't think
that
that
was
was actually
real.
like a hybrid when she's like, I see this one here. I think she was seeing them everywhere because she was like so paranoid and just like in that mental space. So I don't think,
And
like you said, I
he
don't
had
think
like
there are as many as.
specific colored eyes and he was wearing gloves, and so I think she just like,
Yeah, I think she just made up all the other stuff and she was
yeah.
like, and he has like this misshapen mouth and all this stuff. But I was like, I think you might be making that up. I think you're just like so paranoid
Mhm.
that she kind of sees like every now as like a hybrid, like
Yeah.
so many of them as hybrids that she's just like seeing them everywhere when really there aren't that many.
Mhm.
So I do agree with that. I
Yeah.
think that part's exaggerated.
I'm wondering if Max was real and if Samantha actually attacked all the girls at the end and not him in stag form,
Interesting.
Like did she go in and they were telling her she was crazy and she attacked them? Or was that real?
Honestly, with everything else, I think that might have been her.
Yeah, it might have been her. But then it wouldn't make sense for them to like not have said anything, you know? Because she said at the end, she's like, I kept waiting for the police to come. I kept waiting for their lawyers to call me. I kept waiting, and nothing happened. And they just kept saying that it was like an accident.
But if, hello,
Hi, Anrin.
if they had said something, then like that's a really slippery slope. And then there's all this stuff that they have to talk about, whatever
Yeah.
is real and not. So maybe that's what held them back from saying anything. Because they're like, we just can't. But like, I don't.
Hold on. Pause.
Megan! Oh
Okay, continue.
my God.
Sorry.
So I'm like, honestly, I feel like it would make sense for them not to say anything because, like, how do you even explain that?
Yeah.
First of all. Second of all, there is going to be another book. So I'm kind of like, maybe that might be, like, explored in the second book is, like, they haven't said anything.
Yeah.
Like, why? But I feel like, honestly, I don't know if.
I want to look up the plot of the next book.
I don't know if I'm, like, just being too surface level here, but I really do feel like it's just, like, they couldn't explain it all.
Yeah, I mean, probably.
And they don't want them looking into, like, everything. So if they went to the police and talked about her, then it's just, like, a good chance that everything would be exposed, you know?
Yeah, no, I
So.
think that's probably true. We Love You, Bunny, book number 2. Let's see.
Oh, your nails are cute. I forgot you're getting them done today. Oh, I like that. Cute.
She's very
like
classy.
it.
They're my real nails.
Oh, hell yeah. Cute.
Real nails. I know, just with
period.
builder gel. Anyways, We Love You, Bunny opens. Sam has published her first novel to critical acclaim.
Hey. No. 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 Sorry. Hang on. No. Don't look all innocent. He's like, what did I do? What did I do wrong? Go sit with your sister.
Okay, back to it. Let's begin again. Perfect. Plot of the second book. We Love You, Bunny opens. Sam has published her first novel to critical acclaim. But at a New England stop on her book tour, her one-time frenemies, furious at the way they've been portrayed, kidnap her. Oh. Now a captive audience, it's her and our turn to hear the bunny's side of the story.
Ooh. So
Yeah.
interesting. So we will probably.
And about like how they conjured their first creation. Huh.
Interesting.
Interesting. Frankenstein by the Way of Heathers, We Love You Bunny is both a prequel and a sequel, and an unabashedly wild and totally complete standalone novel.
I was gonna say, I was like, this book gives like Heather's, Secret History, Frankenstein, a little bit of Midsummer in there.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Huh. Anyway, so we'll get to hear the bunny's side of everything.
Interesting.
They recount the birth of their unholy alliance and their discovery of their unusual creative powers.
Interesting. All right.
Okay.
Rock on.
Right.
And I think it's out in like September of 2025, right?
It's exciting. I will definitely read it.
Yeah. We will be reading that.
Okay. Do you think that the way that the bunnies are portrayed as very cult-like, do you think that's real or that's Samantha projecting that onto them?
Honestly, I feel like that might be projecting. I don't know. Because I think, like, at the beginning, before she was really in it, they all had names. They all, you know, they still would refer to each other as Bunny, but I feel like it got really bad when she was, like, in it on drugs, started seeing things happening. That's when they really became more cult-like. So I can't tell if it's just because she started, like, finding out that they are or because she started, like,
thinking that they were.
And
I think she always thought that in a way.
Yeah.
You know?
I think she always thought that, but I don't think they were. I mean, I still think they were cult-like, but not to the extent that she portrayed them.
Yeah.
I feel like, again, she was just, like, exaggerating a lot. We get a taste for kind of, like, the way she writes in her imagination in the beginning of the book.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think being that she has this, like, big imagination and the way she talks and everything is very dramatic and large and, like, so
dark.
heavy and dark. There's like so much weight to all of it that I feel like, again, it would make sense if that part was exaggerated as well. It would make sense to me if like the entire thing was very exaggerated and a lot more dramatic.
Yeah.
Than the truth.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier that you think she has schizophrenia.
Okay. I don't think that she's just like seeing shit, but I think to the extent of things that are already bothering her or she's already paranoid about, I think just become like way more elevated. Like I said, I think she was like imagining more hybrids than there were and like seeing people as hybrids that were not. Just like that kind of thing, which I don't think is like, I mean, I'm not a medical professional. I don't know all the ins and outs.
Well, it's interesting that it is mentioned in the book though, with the lady on the bus.
Yeah, the lady on the bus
reading the symptoms of schizophrenia out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, I feel like you're kind of like shouting at us that she's schizophrenic, at least in some way.
Yeah,
and I think when you see all these crazy things and like all this other stuff that you're seeing that isn't real, it's just like you can't decipher which is which.
Yeah. Psycho. What's a scene that really stands out?
Oh gosh.
To you?
I was mentioning this. One that I could just like visualize really well was that first party, the like prom night. I could just visualize it very well. It helps when a specific song is mentioned or something like that that kind of like sets the environment. I don't know. I could see that whole scene and like that whole event play out like a movie in my mind. And like that's when we really started getting visuals for like what those hybrids look like. That's when we first figure out what they are, that kind of thing. So I think that just stuck with me because it was so important to the setting and the environment. But also the one that I just mentioned, that like holiday party, I think that one was really important just kind of to like really see how she was being her own person. She was pushing everyone else away. she is just like locked in her own mind and her own psychosis, and I think that was like a big turning point.
Mm-hmm.
And that was another scene that I could just like visualize very well.
Yeah. I really like the scene. Well, now knowing what I know, I like it even more and I want to go back and read it again. But where she's with the bunnies and they're like deep in psychosis, drugged out state, and then Ava like grabs her and takes her to the diner and is like trying to get her to remember who she is, and she's like so confused and disoriented and
and the
doesn't
way
know
that
what's
the
going
like point of view,
on.
like the writing changed, because when she was like deep in bunnydom, where she was like we, it like slowly changed back into like that was really well written.
Yeah, that was really, really interesting. Ava's like her, although it's a part of her craziness, she's also her like lifeline.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. And the fact that that was when Eleanor was like, you didn't tell us about your friend. Why didn't you tell us about your friend?
Yeah.
And she like knew that she was not real.
Yeah.
And then when they actually kill her, because she kept saying, or when Ava's actually dead, because when she went into the house and she was like kept saying that there was like the swan on the ground, the swan. And I was like, well, she's described her as a swan. She's described her hair as feathers. She's like she's like used those descriptors. So I was just like, oh no, Ava, she's dead. But then I was like, oh wait, it's actually a swan.
That's what I thought too. I was like, oh, it's Ava. Like, wait, this is so sad. Nope.
I mean, it is Ava, but it's just like
it was
swan Ava.
Yeah. But that threw me for a bit of a loop.
And then she was just sleeping in that abandoned house.
Yeah.
Thinking that it was Ava's house. And like with everything.
Like raccoons and nastiness.
Yeah, and everything had just like dissolved away as soon as she died.
That's so crazy. That was so insane.
It's kind of sad.
I mean, it is sad.
Yeah.
It's really sad. But it was just like, oh, it was so good.
Well, and then the girls at the end when she goes in and they're like, we knew she wasn't real. Like, it's kind of sad. It's like scary crazy.
They like really pitied her.
Yeah.
And she picked up on it.
Yeah.
Like when they were all in that meeting with, what's her name? Ursula. Fosco, right?
Ursula's her real name.
Right, but her nickname for her. So when they were all like in that meeting and she's, like when she's narrating, she's talking about, oh, and they look at me and like, this is what they're saying. When this one looks at me, this is what they're saying. And it's like all like pitying and stuff like that. I was like, you're picking up on it, but in like a weird, like roundabout
Or she
way.
might just be projecting.
Or like, okay, I can't
Again, she might just be projecting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you're not really supposed to know.
Right. That's what makes it so good. What are you doing?
He's playing.
With nothing. Just rolling around.
Yeah, she is just projecting.
Yeah.
I'm glad that she finally accepted Jonah's friendship at the end.
Yeah.
That was good.
I think he would be so good for her and her mental state. But then I don't trust him.
But
as like a normal human being.
Is he real?
Like, is he real?
No, he's real. He's definitely real.
I feel like he might be like one of the only ones, but
yeah. Well, the bunnies are real too,
right? But then, like, how many like side characters and people that she interacted with aren't real? Like, are not real. That's what I want to know. It's like all the side people, like the naked dude on the fire escape and all that. I'm like, is he real?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
And the opera singer above her room.
That one, I don't know.
I don't know about that.
Because there was a line where she was talking about, like, hearing it even though she knew she wasn't there.
Yeah.
And I was like...
But she also was, like...
Are you hinting?
In a feverish state, so...
Yeah. But I don't know. I was, like, started reading into everything, like, I think too much. I was like, is that hinting? Is that a hint? Is that a hint? And I couldn't tell.
Yeah, I think you're like too analytical maybe for books like this.
I know. Which, again, it's also the first one.
Yeah.
So I just like
yeah.
wasn't ready to switch that off. And I think now I know I just need to like not be that analytical of it.
No.
Because I love...
I mean, you can be, but it's just not in the... This is like the perfect book to read in like AP Lit.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
it's that kind of analytical.
Yeah.
Where everything's a metaphor for God.
Right. I'm just like too like logically analytical, I think, sometimes. Or I'm like
when you read pretty much everything that is real life. Even the one fantasy... Well, no, you've read ACOTAR, but Fourth Wing is like... It's a magic system, but it's still very rooted.
That's why I like fantasy, because there's like there's still like system
rooted
checks
in reality
and like...
Let's see what else I got.
You know, that kind of thing. So I just think now, like if I went into another book that was in this like surreal horror genre, I would know more like... I don't know if this makes sense, how to read it. I think I just didn't really know and wasn't expecting that going in. So I went in expecting to be analytical in that way. And like, I love horror movies and I love like surreal horror movies. And I don't know why that I don't get super analytical, but we're also not inside their head.
Yeah.
We're just watching it happen. So when you're inside their head, then you're just like questioning a lot more. And that then kind of prompts me to be a little bit more like, I don't know, questioning.
I agree.
Mistrusting.
I have a good question.
Ooh, okay.
This explores the idea of becoming and belonging. So what do you think it says about the idea of conformity?
Girl, what is this? AP Lit?
Yes. I like that question.
Yeah.
I can talk about it first.
Yeah.
I feel as if the entire time she loves Ava so much because Ava is not like anybody else in the world.
Yeah.
And she loves being with her because they don't care about anything else or anybody else. But when she's with the bunnies and they all become this one entity, she like loses herself completely. Yeah. So yeah, I think the whole of it is very much like you don't want to put yourself into a box. And she like she could only make hybrids when she wasn't thinking too hard about it, when she wasn't trying. And when she tried to make the bunny boy and was like sitting with them and trying to be one of them, she like couldn't do it.
Yeah.
She's just not. So yeah, I feel like the whole thing is like, just be yourself, girl. Yeah.
So true. I agree. I think that it's just a big metaphor, you know, and just very symbolic of the dangers of conformity. I think it's like you said, you completely lose yourself if you try too hard to conform to this one kind of person, and describing them as like one entity, I think really like set that in stone. And it's the same thing where you're talking about how much she loves Ava for that reason. I think it's all pretty straightforward in that metaphor. And yeah, it's just kind of like, it's not worth it.
I want to know why they kept eating so much sugar.
That too.
Why are they obsessed with sugar? Like they just ate like cupcakes and drank like pink lemonade and like always.
And like, what was that really dark, black, like bitter thing that they gave her at the very beginning? I want to know what was in that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Little things like that where I'm curious, because I'm like, y'all are drinking sugar. What was that? I mean, they were like, it's like you. But I'm just curious. I'm like, what did y'all put in there? And
why sugar? It's very strange. And she talks about how she smells it all the time. And whenever they were making the boys, it always smelled like baking.
Yeah. Which is kind of crazy.
Very weird and interesting.
And they all smelled like cupcakes and like sugar. I was like, I'm interested to know.
Yeah, I don't know why. I haven't decided
Like what
yet.
that symbolizes.
Mm-mm.
I haven't really decided yet either. I'm like, is that just kind of like a way of describing them as characters and just like kind of their aura? Or is it a lot deeper than that?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Because like their entire aura is just like fluffy dresses, that I could see, and like the pearls and everything. Like I got a very good visual for them.
Yeah,
so
but
I was
then
like,
they would
that
be
would just
wearing
like add to
dresses
the aura.
with like cats
then,
with
like,
rainbows on it, and I was like, what?
Yeah, but then they gave her one that had like little decapitated people on it. And that was why I started, because that was like before the whole violence thing, and that's why I was like, interesting. They know that they're like bunny people or decapitating people, because she was talking about all the like decapitations happening in the town. So I was like, oh, this is all connected. Like that's where I started to go with that. But like some of the dresses were like creepy, and I was like,
I think that her whole like
vibe,
fear of the town thing, I think that might not totally be real either.
Right.
I think that there definitely was like she lived and Ava lived in like a shady part of town.
Yeah.
And they lived in the ritzy part of town.
Yeah.
And I think that was more just to differentiate her from them.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there was really like that many murders going on.
Right.
I think that she might have exaggerated that a bit in her brain.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I could like see it both ways. I don't know.
I don't know. You're not supposed to know. It's okay.
I know. Because it's like, what do you think happened? What do you think? But I'm like, I don't know. I could see it going either way. I could see a lot of things being real or not.
I'm only asking questions, just,
No, I know. I just feel like, I'm like, I don't know. It could be this or that for like everything. But I don't know.
Yeah, I want to watch like a video essay on this.
Ooh,
like tell me what I'm missing. And I wish there's like a reader's guide online, apparently.
Oh.
But
did not know that.
Yeah. I also like that at the end, she kind of just didn't give a fuck anymore.
Yeah.
Like she did not care.
But I'm like, I'm going to be interested to see how that plays into the next book.
Mm-hmm. Well, because she had said that she finished writing like her novel or thesis or whatever. At the end, she finished writing the story.
Right.
And I feel like this is the story. I think most of this is like what she wrote about.
Yeah.
And
well, obviously, because in the next book is like they're upset about how they were portrayed.
Yeah.
So.
And we'll hear all about it.
So then that makes me think, I'm like, maybe this whole thing is just like metaphorical for a real situation that was not at all like that.
Well,
so
I guess
we're upset that they're portrayed this way, and this is not accurate at all.
Well, we're gonna find out. They're gonna talk about it. I think there's definitely truth to it. I also think those girls were bitches.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm like stressed out.
Don't be stressed. Why are you stressed?
No. I'm just like, now I need answers. I need the second book.
Right. Well.
And you said they're going to make a movie or a series?
Yeah, they're making a movie out of it, apparently. I don't know when that's happening. I don't know anything else.
In theory.
Yeah, in theory, but you know how these things go.
Yeah.
Let's see when the next one comes out. September of this year. Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't say a day.
It on Goodreads, but I thought that's what it said, but yeah. No day yet. Well, we will be keeping an eye out.
Yeah, September 2025. So
okay.
We will, let you know when that is coming out. And we'll I want to read it.
Yeah, I'm like, we will be reading it.
Yeah.
We will share our thoughts and feelings.
Yeah.
I don't love that the cover doesn't match this one. It doesn't look like this one.
Yeah.
It's a very different style.
It is a very different style.
It's fine. I hate when they do that, but it's fine.
It is a very different style, but
yeah, that's okay. That's all right. What are some like questions or things that you were like wishing or answer to the next book, or anything that like really stuck with you that you're like, we still don't have an answer for this?
I mean, there's so much that we don't have an answer for.
Right,
But
which ones
none
were
of
like
it-
really crazy to you that you're like, this one I just don't know?
None of it really bothered me.
That's crazy.
It just didn't. Except for maybe I want to know more about what happened with Max and all of the bunnies.
Yeah.
I want to know what really went on there.
Mm-hmm.
Because that definitely, like, something happened there, and that
Yeah.
was definitely real.
Yeah.
And I need to know, what did he do to them?
Yeah.
But it's interesting that he that she created him, and he was just acting on her like dark impulses. Like, he had her brain basically.
Yeah, he was just a reflection of her.
Yeah. And so
I think he also was like a little bit more privy to like her subconscious.
yes, they could like
Like, he was a
actually
reflection of her.
talk in their brains, it seemed.
That's so crazy.
But I don't think in the same way that
No.
not like a Zayden Violet
no,
situation, but they
Not like
could
that. Just kind
understand
of a,
each
like-
other's inner thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
Because
want to
he
know,
was a
that's
reflection of
my
her.
big one, I guess, in the next book. I would love to know what really happened
Mm-hmm.
with him and them.
Yeah.
Was she the one that made all those little boxes for them?
That's what. Okay.
Because it was her room.
That's what.
He was just like living in her room.
Yeah. And they were all of the nicknames that she had made for them. So I'm like, that had to be her.
Yeah, but he also
But he
is her, so
Ugh,
so I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just really want to know, which I guess now we're going to learn. I want to know how they figured out how to do this.
those are all of my thoughts, honestly.
Yeah. I don't know. I just really liked it. I thought it was really good.
I thought it was really good. The writing style was great, and
Yeah, I really liked the writing style.
lots of big unanswered questions. And so those are all of our thoughts for the day. I think that's where we will leave you.
Yeah.
Our next book club book for next month will be
A Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry.
yes,
Her new one comes out this month, actually, in less than a week.
Mm-hmm.
So we both would already be reading it. Figured that would just be a good one to do for book club next month. So get your hands on it and start reading.
Yes, we're super excited. We've been switching up genres a lot, but
Yeah.
going back to our roots for this one with Miss M. Hen. So
I will read anything she writes. I've said this
Mhm.
multiple times on this
Mhm.
podcast already. So I'm very excited about this one.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be great. And it sounds very her. Sounds exactly like what we'd expect. So
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. That is not a bad thing, by the way. That sounds bad, but
no.
I think that's perfect.
As soon as this episode airs and that book comes out, I will update our Fable. If you're not in our Fable book club, I will link it down below yet again. And I change all the books every month, and so we can chat. We would love it if you would join. It's super fun.
Sweet.
So get on Fable. If you want to see more content from us, definitely follow our Instagram and our TikTok, which are both at @spineandink_pod.
We'll see you next week.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye.